Monday.
And you're going to Sydney tomorrow?
I go to Sydney tomorrow, I'm editing a short film that I shot with my brother a few weeks ago.
Cool. Josh, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's another string to my bow.
Yeah, and what's the film? What's it all about?
It's about a lot of it plays... actually, Andy is going to be scoring the film.
Sick.
Yeah.
Solomon.
Right. Oh, sorry, I gave away.
Damn, everybody knows who you are now.
Dude, I'm so sorry. This is going out live, obviously.
Yeah,
We'll
Instagram.
Oh, dude, I'm getting tweets already. Yeah. So it's about a dude who falls in love with a woman upstairs. Basically, it's hard to explain, but it should only be a couple of months away from being done, I think, and then it'll be out.
And are you in it?
I'm not in it. No, it's the first one we've made that I'm not in, actually.
Yeah,
So
right.
that was an interesting experience.
Cool.
So
But it's gonna be good.
what are you flying down to Sydney again for, though?
I'm editing the film,
Right.
so we've got all the footage in the desktop and stuff down there,
Cool.
and just to get away from Brisbane for a little bit,
yeah.
It's good to have the space just to do that and not think about anything else for a week.
What
or
do you
so.
usually do when you're down in Sydney? Because your brother lives there, right? So-
Yeah. The last few times I've been, it's been film stuff. So the last time I was down there, it was pre-production and then costume fittings and stuff, and then we shot it as well. And then most of that stuff, yeah. It's nice because it's that is the city for film in a weird way. It's a good separation of things. It can be hard to separate when you want to do so many things, I think.
And you guys have a space down there where you do it, or do you just kind of do it out of Josh's house, or?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's
or
all-
just walking around or go to some cafe or something like that.
Yeah, cool. For the editing and all that stuff as well, or?
Not for the editing, no. That'll be just in Josh's apartment, yeah.
Yeah.
Where's
sick.
Josh living again? Surrey Hills? Or?
He lives in Rozelle, which is kind of near Newtown sort of area.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh,
it's a
that's a
great
cool spot.
walking suburb. It's so
Maybe near
beautiful.
Jen as well, probably then. She's right near there.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, sick.
How do you cast it? Do they walk in the room and you're sitting there and they have to?
We made a film with kids a few years ago where it was that case. It was live auditions and stuff. But for this one, because we needed someone from Sydney, so I couldn't be there for auditions and stuff, we just got them to do a self-test, which happens a lot these days because casting agents, if you want someone on the other side of the world, they'll just film a video of them doing it. And if they want you to come or for a callback or something, they'll ask you in to do the audition. But this guy was really good. It was just the case of meeting the right guy.
Yeah.
And he turned out to be awesome.
Yeah.
He was really, really good.
Sick.
Yeah.
I'd love
Cool,
to do a casting just to be in that position of
I've been
sitting
on...
at the table.
This is
be
your
really
power.
hard,
Yeah.
Dude, I've been
Just
on both
folding
sides.
your arms and just being like, no, thank you. We'll call you.
Auditioning is literally the worst thing to do. It's so...
I just
nerve-wracking.
whenever I think of auditioning now, I just think of Australian Idol.
I think of my
Mark Holden.
Australian Idol days, my auditions.
Hitting the button and
Did you ever? No, I don't know. If you said something like that, I could believe it.
Well, you know,
I
know our friend Woody. He did it. He auditioned
Right.
for Australian Idol way back in the day.
Did he get in?
He got to. He was saying it's really. He was saying it's a really strange setup because he was super young. We were 17 or 18. It was the third season or something. But they audition you to get to the auditions where you go into the judges. So
Yeah,
you
pre-audition
don't, yeah,
sort of
you
thing.
don't audition. The first audition isn't in front of the judges. It's it's in front of a casting person or something like that, and they'll
Yeah.
go, "Yep, okay, you're good enough," or "Yep, you're terrible enough to go to the judges."
Yeah, totally.
And then
You're going to be good on TV. You're not going to be
and
good
then
on
the
TV.
judges.
Pretty funny how they just let the really terrible people.
But
they got it
half
because-
the reason why people watch it.
Yeah, I suppose, but,
it's
like,
just the
it's-
funny people.
Yeah.
Why do you,
But then
why do you
there's-
watch it?
Well, no, I just feel sorry for some people who actually make it to the real judges and they think they're good. They think they're
It's
actually.
quite awful, really, when you
And
think
then
about it.
so for the previous judges, all just kind of setting that up.
Yeah.
Almost,
It's the same thing with
kinda
The
evil.
Voice, man.
Yeah.
People were I hate The Voice because it was the same thing. I feel with the Australian American Idol too. They always have a guest judge, like Delta or Seal.
Dude, they had
what's his
the
name?
Hoffman. They had
The Hoff was on it.
Yes.
That's right.
And they also now they have Boy George.
Dude.
Boy
Yeah,
George
yeah.
is the
Yeah, yeah.
dude.
Dude, they had
Hoff-
Chris Isaac and one. Don't tell Stu.
I
Chris
feel
Isaac.
bad about when they get someone really good. I'm
Yeah.
like,
These
oh,
people
what are they
ruin
doing?
themselves. I reckon
Yeah.
Boy George.
No way. This
No?
Chris
is.
Isaac, though.
I reckon there's a whole thing about this is that his career is obviously was on its in its twilight years. Like he's like not very
Chris
popular.
Isaac?
No, Boy George,
Oh.
for instance.
How dare you?
And the Maddens, let's say the
Chris
Madden
Isaac's just
brothers,
taken
like
off.
from Good Charlotte and those
Yeah,
guys.
right. 'Cause they were
And
going
Delta
well.
and people like that. Like none of them had any like wherever they, and they thought, well, fuck, like let's get them into Australia. They on like primetime television,
Yeah.
you know, getting a huge audience every night, people watching them. So then, and what ends up happening is someone will win, and it's not about that person at all. That person will win. They get the prize, you know, they win some money or a recording deal or whatever. They make the album, and like, you know, the conditions is Delta, you and Delta sing a song together, and that'll be the single or whatever they put out.
Right.
But then at the same time, Delta or Seal or Boy George has a new album coming out as well,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
puts the album out like at the peak of The Voice when the other person puts it out, and the person who won the comps record sells 20,000, and his sells like millions. And like,
Yeah.
well, no, they're not exact figures, but you know what I mean. It's all a thing to like, I think, to get these people like,
Wait, are you
boost their
saying that
careers?
these
Yeah,
shows
their
aren't
PR.
for the love of music?
dude, maybe, maybe. Maybe.
No, I totally know what you mean. It's
Dude,
funny.
have
like-
you heard Mark Holden's music?
No.
It's terrifying.
Actually,
makes music.
I
Yes,
actually
that's
didn't
how
know
he's famous.
made
He was the
music.
original Australian
Yeah.
Idol judge with.
I thought he played football.
No, he was
He was
a
with
singer
that.
in
What
the
was it,
80s.
Dicko
He
or
said
what was?
touchdown all the time.
Yeah, he made music in the 80s.
I saw him on that Dancing with the Stars, like, and
Mark
I've
Holden?
never been more terrified. He dressed up as a clown.
Oh,
Fucking
dude,
clown.
that's like so many nightmares rolled into
Yeah,
one.
and the judges on the show were like, I don't know why I watched this, but
Yeah, what was happening?
I don't know. I think I just walked past and it was just
You walked.
rolling
the
out.
bright lights
Yeah,
and
sure.
colors,
Yeah,
just
and I
kind
was
of like.
holy fuck, and and the judges were like, "What's going on with
What a
you?"
life
now?"
that guy's
Like,
Yeah,
lived.
like, are you okay?
And he was like, like he was.
Oh, was he
like,
being really
it was
weird?
Like, it was possessing his soul. It was fucked up. It was like
Yeah.
it.
Well, American Idol apparently has like just come back on,
Again.
like this year. Yeah, because they.
What were
stopped
they
it
doing?
for
The
ages.
X Factor before that or something?
Yeah, there's just too many of those shows. Oh my god.
Polluted the airways. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's pretty funny though.
I steer clear of it. When I see my parents, I'm forced to talk about it.
Do your parents watch it?
They love it.
Oh.
Do they
Love it, of
try
course
and
they do. All
recommend
parents
you?
do.
Do
Do they
try
tell
to-
you to go on it and
Yeah.
stuff?
They, they gently kind of bring it up. Yeah, that for them, that's
The
how you get in
pinnacle.
the music industry.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's the crazy thing. Is
Did you
that
mention you're a music person to someone, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, have
the
you?"
crazy idea is that they
It's
think
definitely the
that
way to
like
kill
you
a career.
literally that's how musicians make their careers is like by getting on TV and stuff. Like so many people, and like that's another thing I hate about it is that it totally convinces people who can kind of sing and maybe have a little bit of talent, but like they think, oh, I have no idea how I'm going to get into the industry, and they just watch this and go, oh, I'll just be on The Voice, and like then I'll be crushing it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
Delta did it, and so on and so. And it's like, no, you're going to be a flash in the pan. They're going to use you and throw you out. Like,
Well, the sad thing is they sign these people at such vulnerable times to the most awful deals you've ever seen in your life. And they never make any money, and they'll never recoup any
well, they don't get
amount
paid
they
to
get
be on the
given.
show. Like, so there's a whole season of them where they're on the show and they're not getting paid.
Yeah.
So
Like,
you're
crazy.
saying they're just pretty much like if they win, then they've fucked their life.
Yeah,
winning The
really.
Voice is the worst
I
thing you
mean,
can ever do.
We've heard from, what? There's like Guy Sebastian, right? I mean, the amount of winners that you've heard from that have gone on to have great careers.
Who else is
What
there?
about Shannon Nolan?
There's-
Nosy.
that's-
No,
there's
like
one and a
Kelly
half.
Clarkson. There's maybe like say there's 5, and I probably can't think of the rest of them. Say there's 5 that are doing well. Of how many seasons American Idol has had, all that sort of shit. Like, this is the thing with like giant record labels as well. It's purely a numbers game. They sign so many acts a year. They sign hundreds of people a year that you don't know about,
Yeah.
and it's just the one that'll make it that they'll make all their money from, and they just get rid of the rest of them. You know.
Well, they just
It's not
shelve
bad.
their music. Hey, they go,
Yeah.
thank you, and we
Some
own it,
people-
and they just put it
records
away.
Just never come out. Wasn't
Yeah.
there that artist? Who was it? Who still had like? Was it Natalie Imbruglia or someone like
Someone
that?
actually famous, like and good, you mean? Or?
Yeah, she was good, but she had like 3 or 4 years on a record contract or whatever that she owed a record to this label, and she just said no, I'm not putting another record out, and just didn't make music for 4 years because she was still signed to this deal.
Have
And
you
then started making music after that.
have you heard how Frank Zappa was locked into like a huge, like a 10 record contract, and
Back
he
in the days when those things like would sell.
yeah, and then I think in a year he just slammed out like 6 albums just to basically get
Oh,
out of it, and
That's
they're all
incredible.
amazing albums.
Are they?
But the point was just to get out of this as quick as possible.
So why? Like, so he obviously signed the deal and then was like, "Fuck, I
I-
made a huge mistake." This
Yeah,
sucks.
I think he
like,
hated it, and he just got out of there.
So many big bands seem to have had.
Save Frank Zappa deal. It's like,
Yeah.
what's it?
So many bands seem to have had like a really troublesome time with like a record label. Like obviously, Radiohead had a shocking time, and they ended up having to bail on their deal, right?
Did they?
And that's why they released In Rainbows like on their website as a
Oh.
pay as you go.
I don't think that was as a. Was that like
I
a
thought it
reaction
was.
to
I
a
could be
record
wrong.
deal?
I could definitely be wrong.
Right.
I
I'll have a
mean,
look.
I wouldn't think they would have had a bad record deal. The most successful fucking band.
But I think they hated. Like I think it was more of like a thing with like
You're saying they were the first band to like on a corporate
No,
scale, like
no,
make,
no.
like the name your price thing, like
they definitely were. I don't know if they were the first band, but they were. I wasn't saying anything about them being like the first at anything. I was just saying there's a lot of. I've heard of a lot of bands that are quite popular that always seem to have problems with like record deals eventually, or with labels eventually. Like,
yeah.
and I was just saying I'm pretty sure like
Well, it's a
Radiohead
risky ground.
had a record label issue, and like with not maybe with the point necessarily of like money or something, but they wanted to put out this music, and the radio and the label were trying to tell him to change a lot of it. And he was like no, and then he bailed out on the deal, and then in Rainbows came out as like a pay as you go thing on their website, like completely independent, because now they run their own thing that because they're on XL recordings now. So I don't know.
They run XL.
They're on it,
Oh,
something like that. They were with Parlophone and Capital and people like that, but. Yeah, EMI got bought, and then, I don't know, some weird stuff happened, so... I could look it up, but it might take some time.
we need a blue man.
We need a Jamie.
Yeah.
What's that?
Like, someone to just, like, look shit
yeah,
up
true,
so that
yeah.
when you think you know what you're talking about, they can either make you look stupid or, like, back you up real good.
Yeah, right.
It is blue man, right? No,
What's Blue Man?
red man,
What's a blue... Oh,
Man.
you mean Red Band?
red band.
Was it Brian Red Band? Are you talking
Well, I
about?
don't know, like, because on a few podcasts I listen to, there's like a guy that like looks like up the information. They call him red man and blue man.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know, but I thought Joe Rogan like was Jamie, but
He had a guy called Brian Red Band
Oh,
on his earlier
Red Band.
podcast as well. I think.
Red
red
Man.
man.
Red Man.
Have you seen?
Red Man, tell
Have you
me.
seen that Joe Rogan where
Tell
he
the
keeps
fact.
using that guy, and it's always
Someone just got shot.
what was that though?
Was that me upstairs?
That can't be.
Dude, that's a car. Surely.
Nah.
That's not upstairs.
That sounds like a car. Just pulling out, just then it sounded like tires. Stuck somewhere.
Dude, your hearing's fucked.
Mine?
Yeah.
You didn't think it did? That second
No, it
one?
sounded like some metal falling
sounded
or
like-
something. A big sheet of metal.
The
or something.
first one
I
did.
didn't hear any motor or anything.
Okay, cool. So, sorry about that.
It sounded like someone dragging a big sheet of metal for about
Yes!
a meter. That's exactly
Drags.
it.
Well, I mean, it could a big sheet of metal in the shape of a car. It could be. All right. So here we go.
Here we go.
Tell us about your day, Hugh.
My day.
Yeah, you had a
Oh,
productive day.
He's had a rough day.
I've had a rough day. Yeah, pretty hungover. Drinking this beer. It's helping.
Hair of the dog.
It's helping. Yeah.
Hair of the dog.
I don't know. Yeah, I just played that show last night, and we went out to dinner. And we bought an enormous amount of food.
What did you
and-
guys have? Did you eat at the restaurant? At the bar too?
No, at the curry house. Chili momos. We
You
just
went
got
to
it all,
curry
you know, 'cause
house?
we got the chili momos with the curry, with the rice, with the naan bread, with the papadums.
So
Right.
you didn't do the smorgasbord? Like I thought Stu might have
That
shouted
sounds
the
like a
That's
smorgasbord.
pretty much it. Like,
We won't get the smorgasbord, but we'll order everything on the
Yeah.
smorgasbord.
We'll just order everything on the smorgasbord in main meal proportions.
yeah, it costs so much.
Just so you know, I looked it up too. It didn't mention anything about an issue with their label. I think it just finished, and they then released radio. Then they just decided to go independent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
They didn't It doesn't look like they had any troubles. But
I
they
do
just
feel
failed.
like I hear like there's some people that I've known and friends and stuff that have ended up in like bad record deals and all that sort of stuff. I personally think there's no excuse for that anymore.
Yeah.
And well, you got to be smart about it, right?
Right, and there's like there is so much information about this stuff. If you are wanting to, know enough, it's all out there for you to seek. But people find themselves in these terrible situations. I just think it's like, and they're like, "Fuck the record label." It's like, yeah, but did you look at the contract?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of. It's
They
kind
probably
of
like were
silly.
just like first one, super excited, like holy shit, we're gonna be
Totally.
famous.
I feel like
boom,
when you
signed.
hear like record label, like or a deal,
Yeah.
I just
A lot of people just
connect
sign
it.
that straight up.
No, but I just
Yeah.
connect it with like that's just you're signing your life away. Like that's my association with it now. Like even like
Yeah.
I'm like,
guess
how
there
could
is-
you not think about it?
But in like in like literature and like films and stuff,
Mm.
like if you watch older films, I mean not so much now, but like about music and stuff, everything was about fucking a record deal, man. Like
yeah, it's like
that's like the
Gotta make it to
coveted
the
thing.
top.
Like
That's because you made money on them back then.
totally. But
Like-
I think we're still of the generation where that still carries
We
over
grew
a
up
lot.
with like record deals and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the bands we grew up listening to all had major record deals and were wealthy because of it.
yeah. But
We
then you
because we
get-
grew up pre-internet, and once the
yeah,
internet
imagine
hit,
that.
it was
Imagine
all
Yeah,
getting a
it's-
record deal in like the '60s. You'd just be
Oh my
like,
god,
fuck yeah.
gods!
That would
You'd
be
be
crazy.
like,
Yeah.
but even like, let's just put it. I had a look as well recently because like the average, like what the average band makes across the continents, like in today's age.
Yeah.
Right.
So like the average gigging band at like a level of like I don't know where I read it, but I read it in an article. But like Australia's just pop. Like we just have no. There's not enough people here to make it worth it. Like you're just not gonna make
A decent
unless you are of a top 5 kind of like.
Yep.
You know, you're a ballpark music, or you're like a Powderfinger, or you're like I don't know. There's heaps of them, right? An Aussie hip hop guy who slays it, or whatever. Unless you're making that kind of money, like you can't really live on the band and be like wealthy,
Yeah.
like But in the US or somewhere like that, someone at that level in the US, if you're a top 5 kind of popular artist in your genre in the US, you're like a multi-millionaire. Like you're
Yeah.
wealthy as hell. But like a lot of bands can live on a band life, but be like not that popular. You know what I mean? Like you could be at a level of like mid to low level like fame.
Well, because
But-
do you think
Because
it's
you
the
tour.
population
Well,
and
they
the
just
cities
tour.
and all- yeah.
They just can tour. Like you can go across the country. Like you can go from the west coast to the east coast,
Yeah.
and you can do like a 100-date tour.
We can just do Sydney.
Or in in Australia, you can do like a 7-date tour. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's and you still have to cover the same distance.
And it's like really
How
impressive.
exciting is having 50 states to tour?
So
Yeah.
good,
Holy
dude.
shit.
That
Imagine
is-
being like, we're going on tour, see you in like 4 months, and we're going to play in like 40 states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be
It's
like
crazy.
the coolest fucking thing. It'd be so fun. Like,
Australia's not an adventure because you just know exactly where you are. all
Exactly.
well,
the
it's
time.
3 days and nothing right across the middle too. It's literally
Yeah.
just
Well,
like
unless you go into like the outskirts.
the coast is
towns.
where it's good. Like,
But
Play
it's
in
just
some-
it's purely a
Do
popula-
50
it's a
country
population
towns.
game,
Yeah,
really.
do the RSL grounds. Yeah.
But with a bigger population, there's also so much more room for eclectic taste. Which is
totally.
why it's so difficult here with like we have like one radio station
Yeah.
really that has a monopoly of things in our genre or world
Absolutely.
of music. Whereas you go to the UK or the US, you got college radio, and there's millions of people with that, but so much more room for people to have different tastes and be on that like the mid level kind of doesn't exist anymore in a lot of ways. The mid level band where it's like doing really well and weird, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's my opinion.
Yeah. It's
Well,
weird.
there's you can do it in America here. There's like this big middle ground
Mm.
which doesn't exist here. You either need to crack it and you're sweet,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you just
We just
And usually you need to crack it overseas
Yeah, but
to
like,
be sweet.
and that's the
Yeah.
tough thing as well. It's like there's such a hard thing because it's, do you go before you even make a career here, straight to London and just be like a little fish in a huge pond, and do your best to like just work your way up there and see how you go, or do you go? Yeah,
Zach's just hit upon my play.
a
or-
little bumblebee and a big.
which is
sky.
like no, but there's
I know
there's only
exactly
two
what you mean.
options, right? You
Yeah,
do that,
totally.
or you go, do I? Which, you know, opportunities there somewhat greater because there's going to be a lot more people there. You're going to be able to tour a lot more. There's going to be wider variety of tastes, like you said. So all of those things kind of bode well for someone who isn't singing commercial pop hits. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
totally.
so the alternative scene is so much better. But again, then there's, for every one of you that there is here, there's like 40 of you over there or whatever competing for the same gig. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, it's a lot more competitive. But that makes you just better.
Yeah.
you can take on 40 of views.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, I just inherently have the delusion that there's not 40 of me. There's definitely not. You know, when people say those sort of things, I can't, it can never discourage me in a way, you know, because I just don't think like that. I don't, I wouldn't be doing music at all if I didn't think I was different. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, you know, there's millions of people, like, you're going to be able to make it. There's a lot of people trying to do the same thing. Like, well, they're not, though. You know what I mean? Like, we're all different, and for some reason, stuff just happens. And unless you bet on that thing, or, like, live life as if, like, that's possible, it's hard, but that's how I live life, at least. You know?
It's like what we were talking about today with being apprehensive to write lyrics that have already been said before.
Yeah.
Which I am. But you were like, you haven't said that before, the
Yeah.
way you are experiencing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I
But
think that's
if you
true.
went by that mentality, couldn't you say the same thing about like just song topics and things like that as well? Like so many songs written about, you know,
I just wrote a song called...
ex-girlfriends.
Well, this
I
is
love
this is the thing that I was sort of. I think we're on the same
Yeah.
page in that you can't avoid writing about something for the sheer fact of you think it's been done before. I think this is my opinion. If it's what you're honestly feeling or wanting to express, because that's as much a dishonest thing to do, to actively avoid doing something that you feel as repeating it yourself. I think that's as artistically damaging. In a way. And there's so many, you got to believe in there being new and magical ways to do things. I think.
Yeah.
So when you go to London, so September-ish,
Yep.
it's all Daggy Man?
Yeah, it's all Daggy Man.
All Daggy. So there's no Templeton over there done?
No, it's not like done. I think it's done. I was gonna like retire it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep it going. I just don't know when. It's about context, really. Because I think it's gonna be really beneficial for me to have two projects because I write
Yeah,
so
well,
many
you were saying
different styles and stuff.
that to me as well. You've said that to me before.
Yeah.
being like,
So I think it's definitely a good thing to keep going. It's just about figuring out how to do it. But for now, it's just all Daggy Man. Just thinking
Sick.
about that whole thing.
and what have you got? So have you got anything lined up? Have you?
Absolutely nothing.
Excellent. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. My life exists day to day. Hey.
Yeah.
At this
cool.
point, which is good for me.
Yeah.
And 6 months in the past 6 months is complete sea change. Completely different.
Just doing whatever every day and seeing what happens.
Yeah, just moving forward one step at a time, but thinking of it, thinking ahead, but not. I don't know where my life's going to be in 6 months. Is what I mean.
Yeah.
You can never really plan for that sort of thing. I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting then, because
Yeah.
it's like you're open to anything basically.
That's how I feel about it. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I think that's not good for me. Comfort is not good for me. I crave comfort so fucking much.
Yeah.
But I also know it's an Achilles heel of mine.
Yeah, I think everyone definitely craves comfort, but I understand what you're saying with if you look when you're sometimes you can stress and become really anxious if you think too far in the future.
Yeah. Or if
where
you
am I
know
going to
there's
be
a
when I'm
sure thing.
40? Holy shit! What am I
Yeah.
doing with my life now? Do I have to do stuff now to make sure that I'm going to be okay when I'm 40?
Yeah. Totally.
I think there's definitely some benefit to thinking about that because there's a good chance you're going to be alive when you're 40, so you definitely want to know.
That's crazy. I've never thought about...
Really?
No. But
where you're going to be when you're 40.
well, I haven't thought about, the path to 40. It's just this big black region of map that I have no idea.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's...
Yeah.
But I think that's for everybody, because anything can happen. But I think all I was just saying is maybe that you do look forward a little bit. And I don't want to think I want to be doing this exact thing when I'm 40. But I guess you may be by the time I'm 40, I'd like to have a family. Or
Yeah.
I'd like to or not have a family and be living in Europe or something. There's some really general major landmarks that you maybe would have liked to achieve.
Yeah, totally.
But that can be really stressful then in your everyday life because then you start worrying about, I'm not doing it. I'm running out of time to do this thing that I wanted to do. And
Yeah.
so you try not
Dude,
to
I've
think
been
about it.
Thinking that so much like that.
But it's this thing,
The last 2 months.
but it's this
Yeah.
thing of
Existential fucking.
life is short, so that I think life is long.
Then I come. Oh really?
Life
I
is
feel
long.
like life is very
Life,
long.
there's so much time that we waste, and you say life is short, and it goes. And I mean, it is, but it's long, dude. There is a lot of time if you really.
Well, think about how long
committed.
you've been alive. Now you're 28 years old, right? Nearly.
27.
Yeah, you're 28 next year, early. You're 20. Okay, fuck you. Let's just say 27.
Yeah.
You're closer to 28 than 27, mate.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Not quite, actually. Sorry.
That's gonna make him feel bad.
You're nearly halfway through the danger year, dude.
Yeah, no,
You're doing well.
I reckon,
You're making it through,
People
man.
have warned me about 27.
Oh, I had
Oh,
such a
really?
weird, stupid thing about it too when I was 27.
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, I hope I don't die this year." Like,
I'm not going to think about that
please.
at all.
But
Not like
anyway,
dying, but more like this whole like it's all bullshit. It sounds like
Yeah.
this Saturn return
Like-
thing.
well, it's just kind of like I feel like the saying kind of fucks with me because it's like the 27 club. The reason they make it, the reason
Yeah.
they kind of make a big deal about it is that all these people died in the prime of their lives at like the peak of their careers. Like they're all crushing it. They're in the prime of their life. They're having the best fucking time. It's the best point of their life there ever will be. And then that wigged me out. Like I was like, "Fuck, I'm 27. I'm living the best bit of my life. It's only going to get worse from here."
I don't worry
Like-
about that because I'm not crushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like, I'm
then
not
that's
Jeff
what fucked
Buckley
me as
is.
well.
You die and then you don't crush it.
Yeah, well,
There's
that's what
so
fucked
many-
me
that's
as
what I
well.
was-
I was like, "Holy
That's the
shit!" Like
majority of
I'm
the
not
population.
crushing it, and I'm 27.
You're saying it only just gets worse from here.
That
just
was
from-
like a stupid thing I had for a while, where I was like, "Life is just going to get harder and shitter from here."
I
Like,
genuinely feel like,
but like,
I feel like
that's
like
a
the
super
main change.
pessimistic
Yeah.
outlook, and it was just me freaking out for a bit, and then I was like, "No, that's bullshit." Like, life definitely gets better because you learn more and you become a better person, and so
I
shit gets
genuinely
better.
like. I fully agree with that. Hey, like I think life is going to be so much better from the latter half.
You just
half
don't
of my
fuck
life.
up as much, right? So like less bad
Remains
shit
to be
happens
seen.
to you, like hopefully.
But what made you think that? Like the
What made me think it's going to
Yeah.
be better?
yeah.
Just fundamentally.
sessions on the
Actually
basement.
happened That would kind of like change your.
A few
attitude
things
with it? Yeah.
have happened that have changed my attitude about life in the past year. Yeah, just going through hard times, I think, makes you come out differently, and you change a lot, and makes you appreciate the possibility for change, and that really you're in control of whatever you become, and not as like a responsibility. It's all on you. It's like, it is my responsibility, and it's kind of exciting to think that I want to improve. This is how I want to be in my life, and always improvement to me is beautiful thing. I'm
It's
really
like
happy with
almost
who I
the
am.
reason to be alive.
Yeah, but like improvement really excites me. Like that I could be a better person in 20 years' time. That's fucking cool. I think that's great. I love that idea. And I'm so open to improvement. Like I'm really happy with what I'm doing, and I'm just like solidly set on how I feel about things. But that can change, and I will allow that to change, is a really good thing to me. And I'm like, I have no idea who I will be in a year, let alone 20 years.
Yeah, totally. And it's like it's just kind of exciting because I think like getting older, and obviously like you said, you have a bit of an existential point where you kind of think, fuck, like, okay, so this is it. Like this is me being alive.
Yeah.
And like you kind of come to terms with the fact that you're alive and this is it. And like it's because in your head, I think when you're a kid, you definitely have like grand dreams of what it's like to be an adult, and it all looks pretty exciting. And there's all these things going on. And then when you become one, you still feel like a kid. Like we're all just kids, right?
Yeah.
Like I still just feel like I'm a kid in the world, like trying to figure it out. And there's littler kids than me, and there's bigger kids, and it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
I'm still just a kid
Yeah.
because I still don't feel like I got it figured out.
Yeah.
And you think when you're a kid, when I'm an adult, I'm gonna have it sussed. Like
Yeah, how much do you see 25-year-olds and just be like, that guy has got it worked out? That guy.
how old are you?
No, I mean, sorry.
No, when you're a kid.
Oh, we
When
mean
you're
when
like
you're like,
12.
oh, of
Yeah.
course,
It's just like that.
absolutely, yeah.
I always had this idea that I would just hit this plateau. Like I'd get to sort of like 25, and it would be like, oh, this is adulthood now, and everything falls into place. I'm like, yeah, this is
Life.
it. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sweet.
Like as a kid, I was like, I'm gonna reach that, and it's just gonna make sense.
Yeah.
And then you reach that point, and then you ride it out.
Yeah,
And it's
and
the same, and you're solid, and you're set for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that doesn't happen here. It's-
Well, you hit 25
go
and you
beyond.
go, fuck, I'm 25 and I'm nowhere close to what I thought I was going to be at. And then you like panic out.
There is no plateau. It just
Yeah.
keeps on going. You
Yeah.
just fucking,
It's endless.
I think it's funny. Like I think of, I don't know. I think my experience has led me to thinking about things differently in a way of like. I think if you go like I don't know, bad shit when you're in a bad time, right? You're having a bad time.
Yeah.
Or you're going through a slump or whatever. At least for me, I don't know if it's like this for everyone else, but for me, my life and the scope of it shrinks so small to like a moment by moment thing. Like I feel like the way I deal with those things now is like I can only really just like get through the next minute and the next hour and the next day. You know, every day is like an achievement of like getting through that shit. So like the scope of my life in a really nice way isn't like these years.
Yeah.
It's like this day or this moment, you know, like I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm going to be like tomorrow. Like,
And
if I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be sad or whatever. It's like tomorrow is another whole chance to do something in a way, you know? And that's all, that's what I mean by like life is long is like the amount your whole life could literally change in a day. If we all decided we're going to live on the street tomorrow. It's a ridiculous example, but it's the first thing I can think of that's immediately achievable by all of us. That would change our entire lives.
Totally. Yeah.
And like to apply in some way, you know, we don't know who we're going to meet. We could get hit by a car. We don't know what the fuck is going to happen tomorrow.
Isn't that like stoicism? Or like stoic? Like to kind of test your life, like the standard of your life, like by like doing something drastic, by living in like on the streets or, you know,
it's like the $1 a day challenge or something like that.
What's that thing of not even to that degree, but you could.
Then your life is just like
you can do anything.
Yeah.
Like this part of life's easy. Yeah.
You've kind of eliminated that sense of fear of living or like the fear of surviving.
The fear of like not being able to do it. Yeah, because I always feel at least like when you do worry about like some things and think, fuck, I got no money, I got no job, like I'm fucked or whatever, which happens like frequently. Like if you have in between jobs or if you like when you're an artist or a musician, like you're always in between work and stuff. So there's always periods of a lot of doing nothing, and then a lot of shit crammed into a small part of it happens. So like you always worry like, oh, am I gonna be okay? But like you just never let that happen. I feel like you'd have to either be really, really like this. I don't want this to sound bad, but I feel like you'd have to not care that much to end up on the street. Like, you know, it sounds a bit privileged, I guess. I don't know. Coming from... maybe I should stop.
No.
I
Don't
don't
stop.
I know what you mean, but like...
Maybe not for us. I mean, I don't want to
not for us.
generalize and just say, like, you know, anyone who's homeless has just let themselves become homeless and that's their fault.
But you're talking from the context of people in our position,
well, in my
which is a
personal
valuable
experience,
viewpoint. Yeah.
in my personal experience, like I will know that I will never let it get to the point where I have no job and I have to live on the street. I'll do my absolute best to not let that happen. So I'm not that worried about that when I'm in a slump, like because like if you just get fired or like you lose a job and then all of a sudden you have no money coming in, then like the first couple of weeks are like a holiday. You're like, dude, I'm not working. Like I know I don't have any money, but this is awesome. I'm like chilling. I'm catching up with people. I'm doing stuff. And then the longer it goes, and we're like, fuck, I need some money. Like here. Yeah. And then it gets like, you know, you start applying for gigs that you want, and then like then if you don't get those, you get for the ones that you didn't want as bad as those ones, and it just keeps going until you fuck, all right, I'll just take this job. I need it. Like And then you work your way back up to, but I guess the fear is like, I've got this far, I don't want to take a huge backward step and have to start again.
I think in like, in this sort of realm, I feel like, and this might not be true, but I feel like, a lot of people, or the attention that people should place more attention on themselves, in my view, and dealing with what's going on with them. Let me keep talking and it will make sense eventually. I mean to say, like, I think a lot of trouble comes when we're all comparing ourselves to other things, like in milestones and life stones, in music as well. It's easy to do in a career sense, but also in an emotional sense as well. So much of what people desire or have trouble with is related to other people, right? And what I feel like I'm actively trying to do that I don't feel like people are doing is dealing with myself. Like, if you like come to a realization that, again, the responsibility of how you feel falls on you, and if something shit happens to you, right, and you treat it like you've come up against an immovable object, right? It's like, I could yell at this person or get angry at this person, but that's not going to do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, in so many ways, it's just you're hitting a wall, you're yelling at a wall. You know, there's no point. And it's like, you adjust yourself, like you don't have to be angry at that. You know what I mean? Like, there can be a reaction to it, but it doesn't have to be an. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that making sense?
Change
like,
yourself, not other
I
people.
think,
I believe,
the reason for
I believe that's the only way to affect change in other people as well, if that is such a desire. Like, if you want to, and the idea of helping someone to figure that out, not like teaching them, you know what I mean? Like I feel like 2 years ago, I was the opposite of that. I was just like, I would have if somebody disagreed with me, or I held an opinion really highly or whatever, it would be about like convincing someone or arguing with someone or something like that. Whereas it's like, no, you're right and I'm wrong. That sort of vibe. It's like everyone is completely different. Everyone's doing something completely different. Until you deal with yourself, you're never gonna have like proper relationships. I don't think. For me, that's been my experience in my life.
Yeah, so you got to get to know yourself really well before you feel like you can let other people know you as well.
Yeah, and I feel like in the context of what we were talking about before with like careers and all that sort of stuff and moving forward, I feel like that frees you up a lot, for me at least, because it's like I'm no longer beholden to where I think I expect to be. I have no expectation of what life is going to provide for me. It's more, what am I going to provide for myself? It's like it's not, this is what I deserve because of this is what I've put into the world. I've put in all this work and nothing's happening in music, right? That happens a lot. But it's no longer, oh man, like fuck the world.
Yeah.
Fuck this opportunity for not being
You're
given back to
choosing.
me.
Well, you're choosing to kind of accept it and not get mad about it, and just be like, "Look, I fucking tried," and
no, but also like I'm
still
stop
trying.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and it's the world doesn't owe me anything, and people don't owe you things.
Failure anymore. You start like doing something for the world, and see what they think and their responses. Like
it's
oh,
your
not good enough,
contribution
or
to like existence, right?
And
I
yeah,
guess.
because that
And
way
the
of
world
living
doesn't
is
have a
unsustainable anyway.
Yeah.
Because
Just
even if you
constantly-
succeed at that, you're always going to fall. And then you're always going to be your own worst enemy as well, and you're going to beat yourself up when
And
you're
like
at the top.
nobody has a responsibility to you to be anything to you. They don't.
Unless you're a parent, you would think that keep you alive for a bit.
Totally, but I mean, like, with like friends or whatever, no one.
Yeah, you make your own friends.
Yeah, and you foster what you want out of a relationship. That's your responsibility as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people. I don't know. It's just a lot of pain comes from what you
create it
expect
yourself.
not matching.
Totally.
Yeah, expectation. And I just think.
And if you let external stuff like that, like what people think, dictate your emotional state, then
Or how you act.
then you're kind of at the mercy of chaos, because that's
Totally.
completely out of your control.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's stoicism,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I think.
Fucking sounded pretty stoic.
Well, the only thing you can control is your reaction.
Absolutely.
That's the only control you have in the end. Like the
Also, you can take
Yeah.
comfort in the fact that the world is absurd in
yes.
there's no justice in the music world, there's no justice in the justice world. It's completely
Justice is like a human creation.
Absolutely.
Like,
But
Totally. About
I
this
mean there's
today.
no necessary correlation between making great music and having a successful life. Like a lot of the greats died unknown.
yeah,
but
heaps of people.
Totally.
Same with
Yeah.
like any art form, like artists and like
yeah.
dancers and like people like that, and
Yeah.
just people who become famous after they die. Like
Nick Drake.
yeah, like all of like Van Gogh and like people like Van Gogh was like he
Died just
died
alone.
like alone, like
Yeah.
poor as hell, like, and he's like one of the most celebrated artists of in the last 500 years. Like,
Totally.
it's just weird, and that would suck. Like, he never knew that.
It's
That
it's
sucks.
bizarre, hey.
Like,
His
that to
life
me
as
is
far
like
as he knows
bitter-
was
that
just
to
a
me is
trudge,
like there is no
Yeah.
justice.
and that's full stop.
But then at the end of the day as well, like, we don't, maybe he died happy. We don't know that he
he
died
went
unhappy.
crazy and cut his ear off.
Well, he was happy. Crazy people tend to be happy because they don't know they should be sad.
True. True.
It's all
Fair point.
delusion, though, at the end. And, like, once you learn to control your own delusion, I think it makes life better for you. I think.
Yeah, that's interesting.
definitely.
That's very interesting.
Well,
Anyone
even
want a slice of
even
cheese?
what you think about yourself can not matter
please.
if you like.
Yeah.
Like just like what other people think of you, you can let that not matter. You can also do that with what you think about yourself,
Totally.
which is bizarre. It's kind of arbitrary.
I think you get there in the end.
You got to
Both
learn to be happy with
successful
it,
and
right?
not successfully though, like you,
Yeah.
because other people's like opinions of your art or whatever, like doesn't stay alive for very long. There's no like, even if everyone loved your stuff and was just like, this is amazing, how much can your response actually take it in anymore? Like you wouldn't.
Yeah,
be
you
a
get
sea
numb
of
to it or
just like
something.
noise at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
like
wouldn't
being
give a fuck,
super
and then you're
famous.
like, why am I doing this? why am I creating or writing this? It's like,
Yeah, well, is what you mean? Like the reason for doing it has to be something other than the praise.
yeah,
that
and
you
then
receive.
you look
Well,
back
yeah.
and you're like, what is the reason I'm doing this for? Like, and it's
Yeah.
like anything, either way. Like, you had no one listen to your stuff. You start to do it because there's something, there's the connection with you and why you're doing it. You know, it's like almost like a spiritual thing.
Totally, and I feel like
getting in touch with yourself.
I've figured that out for myself. I didn't know that for a long time, and it's only in the last year that I've actually figured out why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I think I'm lucky in that regard because I think it takes people a long time to figure that out. And I'm like, I don't know, like I know why I do it now, and that makes me just like happy about it.
Yeah.
You know,
How much better is that though? Because knowing that you're doing it just for yourself means that you're like, it's not like this like, transitioning sort of thing that can change like at any moment. It's like being happy all the time. That passes too. It's like,
and this is the thing I think can be hard. I think when people struggle with music and creativity and stuff like that, it's like I don't require anything from it. You know, it's not. I don't require the reaction. There's something I would like or whatever. Of course, you know, you want to be reacted to well, but I don't. It's not like I'm reliant on this to give me something back. It's saying the same thing as I was saying before. It's just like I do this thing. You know, the reaction is a different thing completely. It's not part of It's not part of the.
It's not the reason you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something else entirely. It's not like, oh, I make music because people like it, or I'm gonna keep making music because people like it, or I'm gonna stop because nobody seems to like it. Like that's an insane thing to me. It's like, well, that's not the right reason to do it in the first place.
If
100%.
If no other people existed,
Yeah.
would you'd still write songs and record them?
It's like solipsism. I don't know. If
If
no one-
everyone
no,
died,
no,
like if everyone
look,
but you died.
Look, no, like but this is the thing, like, oh yes,
Like
That's
if
what-
you knew, if the world you
If
knew
you're on a
now,
desert island for the rest of your
totally,
life,
yeah,
would you?
of course I would, definitely.
that'd get you through your days.
Yeah, actually, yeah, of course you.
I
would.
would definitely do
Yeah,
it. Also, I'd be delusional enough to think that someone out there magically can hit. You know what I mean? Like, even when you're making a song, you sort of there's an imaginary audience, whether it be you in a meta sense, like looking at you, listening to it. Like,
Yeah, okay.
you're watching it as well. It's
Yeah.
like you're not alone.
that's a sweet movie idea right there.
Bam.
So so when you're writing
You
a
feel
song,
yourself like that, watching yourself.
Yeah, because
when you're performing or when you're writing.
when I'm writing.
So that's the
and
first thing
recordings.
that kind of appears in your head as you're singing and writing the song.
I am
Or?
at the same time the creator and the audience of the thing.
So you're seeing yourself play it in your mind's eye, kind of thing. While
Yeah,
you're
and I'm
singing.
feeling it as
That's
a
cool. So you
par-
visualize it a little
participant.
bit live or whatever.
yeah, or not necessarily live, just like ingesting it as someone that isn't me. It's like it's me, but it's not. It's a version of me that I'm speaking to myself as well. So I'm ingesting it as well. Like there's so many things, especially on this last album, that I didn't know, that I learnt from. I can only guess myself, that I was like, oh man, that's exactly what I needed to hear.
Through your lyrics and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And it's like me writing from a different place, the place that isn't judging or whatever, where I'm allowed to, where I've allowed myself to express something that maybe I wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Well, you're just letting go. You're really tapping into how you feel
Yeah.
rather than what you think or whatever.
And it's like I'm talking to myself, which is not generally accepted as sane.
And were you doing that as like a pep talk, kind of, come on, so like feel better and stuff, or was it more just like I just need to kind of tell myself how I'm really feeling?
For me, for this last album,
Yeah.
it was literally, I think you want to be alive. It was literally that. It was like, please live.
Yeah, right.
And it was like trying to tell myself all the good things.
Yeah, that's hectic.
I always find looking back on lyrics whenever it's like you are this thing, and I thought I was writing about someone else. It's always about myself.
Yeah.
So all
So
your
it-
songs are about you.
Yeah, pretty well.
Psycho.
Yeah.
Even when you are writing like a story song or whatever, it's always about you. Can't not be about you.
So it's fairly therapeutic, obviously. Like the reason you get it out, and you.
Yeah.
Because I was like, not a song. I've never written a song in my life, which sucks.
You should,
for
man.
me. I really want to.
You must.
See
Dude,
how
I would love to hear a song. Holy shit.
like drums was just a thing. So it was. I mean, but I find the older I'm getting, the more I'm like enjoying the piano and like trying to like think of songs and think of cool things. Like I'd love to do it, but anyway. just like seems a super therapeutic way, especially for all the guys that I hang out with that write songs, like yourselves and a few other people. Like, you know, to them, the best songs are ones that you just have to sing, like because you feel shit or because you need to get it out. Like, I know that's a big part of your process.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like it's your therapy. It's like
I've always lived by that. Like the mantra in my mind of songwriting is just like you're putting a secret into your song. Like you're putting all the secrets that you've been running away from. Like you don't want to talk to anyone about.
You're putting them in
You're
that.
just laying.
It's
them
like a
out.
diary.
Like, yeah. Exposing your secrets, and that's like really therapeutic, I think.
That's your way of telling people how you really feel.
Well, when you play it live or whatever, and you kind of you're really embarrassed about, you know, something that you so embarrassed that you wouldn't even want to tell like some of your best friends, you know. But if you like lay it out and you put it into a song and you perform it, it's like the most gratifying feeling.
Because you've told them, but not directly.
It's like a relief.
Yeah.
And then people connect with that also, and that's also like relieving. Knowing that, like, someone else feels the same, like, about this thing that I'm, like,
it's great.
so afraid of.
It's great. Yeah.
And
it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big part of it. And that also, like, it simplifies the songwriting process as well, because I always feel like if I'm writing and I'm trying to be over-intellectual, it's just a mess. Like, I think about it too much, and it turns into this bullshit mess. But if I try and, like, cut back down to just being as simple as I can be, and usually that means just like exposing something really fucking like
raw.
A big secret, fat or whatever. And then that's it, you know. Like it's just the song comes out and I don't even question it. Like sort of,
and it feels good.
Yeah,
because you're like,
yeah.
There's
And
that
no one, and
stress
anyone listening
out,
to it
like,
finds it. It's not I don't know, like pretentious or whatever, because it just sounds. You're just like, oh, this is just something you said. It's not like you're trying to like use poetic words and be like all like.
Come see how good I am.
Yeah.
Thesaurus, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge thing about the mid-air stuff that we get all the time, is that people just who watch you perform, they just connect on an emotional, like they just really feel like the natural, like non-bullshit part of it.
Even when you don't, even when I don't have words or whatever.
Yeah, and when
just
people,
squealing.
you know, if we just like, you know, we worry about like. I think when we first started, we worried so much about like the technicality of the performance, like making sure that everyone sang in tune and everything sounded perfect and we played perfectly. We worried about that a lot, which I think was good because it got our set pretty nice. But we worried about it too much sometimes, and like then the show wouldn't be good because we were too busy thinking about how to play the songs really well that like the emotion of it kind of lost itself, and it wasn't as strong a show as the ones when we just get up like. When we played the weekend before with Kieran,
there's a weird period.
We hadn't even thought about it. Like we did one rehearsal with Andy, or with Solomon here. Sorry, dude, we'll edit that. We did one rehearsal with Solomon, and we just buzzed the songs once.
Yeah.
You knew them all, thank fuck, and
Yeah.
we just like got up. We were like 10 minutes before we had to play, and we were sitting out the back. We didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like there's just some shows that you actually feel like playing.
Yeah.
And you don't even question the fact that anything going wrong. You're not gonna have a doubt, because it's not about how perfect you sound anymore.
Well, that's what we got over, I think.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Because we cared about it a bit at the start, and it kind of started messing with us a bit, and I was like, fuck, like just don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Let's just enjoy it.
I think everyone can totally tell that as well.
Yeah.
Like the vibe in the room. Once you break past that, thinking about that stuff, everyone's all in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is good.
But
that one at Kieran, that show with Kieran was great. I just felt great about it. Like,
Yeah.
And it probably a mix of like, we hadn't played for ages, so we were keen as hell. It was good to have Solomon aboard. Like, it was fun. We felt like good about it. We were like, cool, we've got like someone locked in. This is good. It was all kind of fresh again because we hadn't done it for so long.
Yeah.
And we didn't think about it too much. We just got up and just like knocked it. I thought we played really well.
Yeah, you always just play your worst when you're thinking about the fucking guitar tone. Or, what pedals aren't working and stuff. Like,
I used to think about that predominantly.
Yeah.
Same.
But
in
now
previous bands, it's all we've ever thought about.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've attributed it to a big reason that the band's failed.
Yeah.
Because we didn't think about just being a band.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
But then, because you'll always find a reason to not like it as well.
Oh,
Be like, oh, this thing wasn't sounding the way I wanted it. Like, it's like, fuck.
And that ruined your show.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kieran was awesome about it. That was a cool show.
Yeah, dude. And it's funny because to me, I thought he was really actually a fairly nervous. Like I got a bit of a nervous energy off
Oh,
him in the
really?
back. Yeah, like not in like a I'm like bricking it. I'm gonna stuff this up. More like he just had that nervous energy of like I don't know. For me, I'm not very nervous ever when we play shows anymore. Like I'm never worried about my parts or like I've got a hard bit to play. Like I hope I don't mess that up. Like I don't have that fear anymore. Like so when I go out to play, it's hiding behind the drum kit, head down, just having a good time. Like I don't even really look at the audience that much, and it'll be so different for like singers and people up the front. Especially singers, I feel like, because you've got to sing, like, and expose your story, and all eyes are on you most of the time, and like, there's this whole thing.
I reckon I stole the spotlight.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, most of the time.
Think about it. Yeah, totally. You had a whole fan. You had a little fan group at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. But like, I
Cool
felt I
vibe.
got that vibe of Kieran a little bit. Like, he was like, oh, Donnie went and had a sleep in the back, and he like.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He was
came out.
super jet lagged. He was a mess.
Yeah, and he was like, whoa, and yeah, maybe he was just jet lagged. I didn't even consider that. But then, like, he had all the gear.
He's
on.
more
He was-
mellow than I.
He was
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
throw a cigarette into his mouth.
Yeah.
He kept like
This dude was just so tired. He made like an impression on all of you that made him he
Seem-
seemed really weird and
oh
anxious
look,
and
no,
relaxed. when he
I
slept.
wasn't. I don't know. I didn't want to
Dudes
sell
are
him
just
out.
jet-lagged.
Yeah, maybe.
No,
He just
no.
seemed
Well,
really. He seemed
I
nervous.
thought,
That's just
like,
the vibe I got. Like
the
he got
show
that
that we
nervous
played-
energy
The
Right.
show that we
The
played.
show the last show that we played together, like our last show of the
in
tour.
Foundry.
I was like
Yeah.
so fucked up and jet lagged and tired, and you were too.
Yeah.
He
And I
just
was-
flown back from the UK. Actually, Kieran. I remember he'd just
Yeah.
been there. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was back like a day or something.
You get weird. It's so weird.
We did that show in LA with Templeton, where we got there the same day and played like 2 hours after we landed. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
That would have been so
Australia.
hectic.
It was ridiculous.
In Australia.
In Los Angeles.
Yeah, really.
I think we
Was
did
that with the
in
band or was that
UK
with-
as well? There was like
Yeah.
some
Yeah, probably.
record store
It's
thing.
it. Oh yeah, Rough
And it
Trade.
was the worst.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you
dude,
never
so-
know. You're just like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so weird.
I get artists that roll up like 2 hours before on a plane, and they just rock up to the show. Everything's set up exactly how they always have it,
Yeah.
and you just nail it.
That's the dream, dude. It's the dream. In the limo, up, down, out the limo, bye.
in a fucking chopper.
Yeah.
Flying down.
Don't have to
in front
talk
of
to
the
one
stage.
fan.
Can't you believe like Oasis actually did that?
Yeah, dude.
What?
Fuck that.
Flew in
They're
by a chopper and like played at some festivals and like,
what legends, dude.
No,
As
I
if
think
you
it was their own
wouldn't.
show, wasn't it?
hey.
I think it was just their. Wasn't that they just threw this huge concert?
Oh,
They had
Like
one of
the
the biggest
most
shows
mammoth
ever, right?
concerts
Oh, I
ever.
think it was one of the biggest ones
They
ever.
They sold out. No, it wasn't one.
They,
play.
it was like 10 nights in a row or something.
Yeah, it was like the most that. Yeah, it was nuts. But they're so cool, you know. They're just the coolest guys. It's because they're so down to earth.
yeah.
I love him, man. I'm into him.
Yeah.
You don't like these
Have you seen
guys?
that documentary? No, I don't mind. I have no feelings about it. They're fun.
Yeah.
They do their thing. They're just cool.
I just
like
think,
I like Kanye.
they're a bunch of
Not
boys.
many people like Kanye.
Like,
you know?
they seem
I
like
like
they were
Kanye.
just such, like, kind of, like, men of the people before they became famous. Like, they were just, like, probably, like, seemed to be, like, middle class people, working class people even, potentially,
Yeah.
from Manchester,
Yeah.
who, like,
Yeah.
wouldn't have had a lot of money, didn't know anyone with any fucking money, like, ever, really. Probably hated people with money, because, that's usually
Yeah.
what happens. And then they ended up just becoming like the most rich and famous musicians in the world, like as if they weren't gonna just be absolute lunatics. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would.
They're just so fucking rough, man.
Yeah, and
Personality's
that's
so
Fucking rough.
they're not, and they totally didn't deal with fame that well. Like, well, I mean, they just. I think they were just probably where they were from was probably pretty rough, and like that's just the way people were around
Where are
there.
they from? Liverpool?
Manchester.
No. Yeah, Manchester.
Yeah, and it's like I mean, it's a known football hooligan town and stuff. So like, it would definitely have been.
Yeah.
There would have been rough spots.
I think they're just playing.
You
Right,
reckon
I
it's
think
all
that-
bullshit?
No, I just think that not bullshit. I just think they're playing around. I mean, that's a very English thing as well. You know, it's like, it's not like fucking so serious. I think they're just
Yeah.
having a bit of fun, and like they say some stupid shit, but like they're having get over it.
Yeah,
Some people get so
exactly.
upset. It's like, what do you fucking
Do
expect?
you mean like,
like
just the controversy of them?
yeah,
The
I just think
brothers
it's
and-
just
yeah.
oh, why would you get upset at it? Like, I'm not saying like they're stupid for saying it. I'm saying good on them for saying it. Like, say whatever you want. You know, this
Yeah.
shit
Yeah.
comes up all the time.
They
It's
were just
like,
loaded and they didn't
absolutely.
give a fuck. They were like, dude, we're rich as hell. We'll just do. We're like the biggest band in the world, dude. We'll just do whatever we want.
They're going into
Oh
some
yeah,
crack
dude.
pretty
Let's
hard,
get
though.
some choppers.
yeah.
Like,
Dude, I think they were just jet lagged for their entire career.
Have you seen the documentary?
yeah.
Yeah.
What's the Story Morning Glory album is fucking tip top though. That's like such a good album.
I think
Really is.
I don't know if that's the one I listened to, but I
It's
listened.
got like Wonderwall and shit on it. It's like
Has that
that.
got
true,
Champagne Supernova?
Yeah, that's it.
Dude, that song is so good, but it's so long.
Yeah.
I never
You
realized
don't
how
think
long that
it's long,
fucking song
eh?
is. Yeah. How many special? 7 minutes later. Holy shit, the song's still going. Huey's just getting some naan bread.
That's what that sound is right next to his microphone. You could have left the microphone there.
It's probably the only sound you've heard all night because it's been on his lap the whole time.
Oh, Hugh's here, everybody.
No,
Hey, Hugh.
The game's really loud.
Yeah, on yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. He's got it sorted, mate. He's got it engineered. I did my first gig being a sound guy last night.
Oh, with Huey.
I was a sound engineer. Yep.
Where are you?
I,
Did he
EQ'd
pay you your percentage?
Yeah, dude. You
Man, I'm
fitted the
still-
room and everything.
Still waiting. I EQ'd the amp for the
Nice.
vocals.
Oh, that's right. You sung vocals through a cube, didn't you?
No, through a twin.
Through a
I
twin.
Oh, you
played-
sung
I
through the
played-
twin
The
and you
bigger
played
amp
That's
was
nice,
for the
dude.
vocals. Yeah, it's that again.
Sorry, I just clapped into the mic. Holy moly! You played through the twin cube and sung through the Fender.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You should have. No, you should have done it the other way around, right?
Nah, man.
No.
Because you don't want a loud electric. You didn't need all that. You know,
An electric through a cube.
it would have been muffled as anything. The vocals
Like,
were
it wasn't a
cute.
big room, but
Yeah,
true,
probably
true,
like
true.
40 people.
Yeah, true.
It's like
It was
a
small and
big. It was like a beer garden.
was definitely
Like
small.
it was tiny.
That's your staple gig now, right?
Once a week, mid-air,
Fuck
lead
no.
singer, Hugh Middleton.
Dude, Hugh Middleton at the Hope and Anchor. Hope floats with Hugh Middleton.
yeah, see, this is exactly what we're talking about. Don't want that association. Maybe I'll wear a mask.
Dude, you should totally do that.
Yeah, that'll bring
You
people
should
in.
Daft Punk it for sure.
Just the scream mask.
Yeah, just
wear
wear like a
different
balaclava or
Halloween
something. Like
mask.
you're gonna rob the place and your mustache is just like poking through.
Then you become known for that. You'll be famous for that. Like, I
That'd
wish
be
I never
funny.
did that.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
God damn, it's so easy though. Like,
Oh yeah.
2 little sets, get paid cash.
Well, you were supposed to do 245
Yeah,
minute
you
sets,
did.
and you did like 1.5 sets. So you might not even get paid the full
I think.
No, I
amount.
got paid.
No, I think.
Oh,
in
did you?
Paid cash.
Cash
I
money.
think in total you played 45 minutes.
Sorry, I keep doing that.
I thought it was 2 sets over 45. No, okay, it wasn't clear.
Well, I'll do double. I'll do 2 45-minute sets next time.
I reckon
promise.
if it was someone else, to be honest, like if someone else running it, like if I didn't know the person, I would have been, yeah, of course, do the 45-minute thing.
But yeah,
The fact that I didn't know Jay, and yeah, it's totally fine.
yeah, no, yeah, of course.
Who paid you the venue?
I was playing to my friends anyway. Like,
You had a couple of
That's
fans
so
there,
sweet.
mate.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of girls in the front there. They were
there's
there
always
watching.
always a
right?
couple of girls.
No, the other side.
Wow.
Yeah. They were there watching you big time.
Fuck
They were
yeah.
they were like literally clapping you and looking at you at every song and stuff. They were
Yeah.
into you.
Dude,
And then they left
They'll be
as soon
there.
as you finished. So,
Wow.
yeah, they were definitely there to see you.
That's crazy.
My man.
Well, it's so hard to keep something so under wraps. Like, I want no one to know about it, but also convince Jay that it's like being promoted.
And then yeah, you had to do the event, which you didn't even get they said featuring Hugh Middleton
Yeah.
on the event too, so you were fucked from the beginning. Like everyone was gonna find out about that, and as soon as Butter Doctor found out, he was like, "Boom,
Yeah.
we're
Oh,
all
but that's
going."
alright, like, I only invited like 8 people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff. Yeah, more of those, mate. I think.
Are you serious?
Nah. But like maybe it's money. Like
Yeah.
why wouldn't you do it? And it
Well,
could be a
I
fun
would do
place
it-
to
You
try
should
out like
play-
new
He
songs.
He got
and
offered
stuff.
once a week.
Do it. Why wouldn't you do it?
Well, I would do it if like I knew that it wasn't just gonna like.
It'd be like a
with
comedian going
anything.
down to the comedy store
Yeah,
and
but I
putting in
just
their
don't
10
want-
minutes,
I don't
like
want
just
that
to like
association
practice
then.
some shit.
That's exactly how I was thinking of
That's
it.
actually a really good point.
But apparently they want to use his name.
Well, I could just see Jay, being like, "Oh, let's promote it."
Oh well, tell him no.
I think
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna say like, I'll do
You
it.
can't
as
be
long
like
as
it's
I-
like yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, featuring." I'll just say live music, and I'll bring people, but I won't tell people about it.
I think it's perfect, man.
But it would be a great opportunity for you to go and
Yeah,
test
just
new
try.
songs out
Yeah.
and stuff, like,
Yeah.
and see what people think
And
of
some
them
jokes,
stuff,
throw some
and
jokes
just
in,
fuck
see if
around.
they-
dude.
Yeah.
Like, why not? And you're getting paid to do it. Like, it sounds like a dream.
Case closed.
I mean, don't
don't
feel
know.
shit about it in the sense. I feel like you're feeling shit
someday.
about it because you're like, oh, like I'm doing covers and I'm a covers guy, and it's like
I'm not doing covers.
you're not exactly. So like,
Just get super nice on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
See what happens up
Yeah.
there.
dude,
Get paid.
I do it for a little bit. It's
Yeah.
a bit of money. Like, why wouldn't you? But yeah, don't let them use your name.
Like, I don't want to be associated.
I'll take the money and I'll do the gigs, but you can't say who I am or what I do.
Pretty much. That's exactly what
Yeah.
You should come
That's
up with
it.
a moniker. Just come up with a Daggy Man. Come up with a fucking, Saggy Man or something. I don't know.
Don't you dare. Then I'll start copying shit. Like, oh, you've been playing at the Copenhagen for a while. That's saggy, man.
Everyone just goes expecting it's a Daggy Man like tribute show. And so Huey just sings like rock and roll, like Nickelback versions of all your like songs.
Oh, it'd be really fun to just fuck with people too. Like, you could just play the weirdest shit.
Yeah. Dude, I really
Just
want you
to
to play
say-
the country song.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all did.
One time, I reckon you just throw it in there and see if you get away with it.
You'll get away with it.
Dude, I did it. I have done it one time.
Have you? Well,
At Brew in the city.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like ages ago.
I was there for that.
Were you for the country song?
Yep. I was.
what country?
Oh, it's
It's good.
it's good.
Have I played
We'll
it?
play it for you later. It's good.
You got to record it.
No, he'll
No,
play it. Just
but maybe-
Huey will
Ah,
just
okay,
play it.
Nice, nice.
Dude, let's put it on the album.
A secret track at the end.
Yes. Fuck yeah. Only subscribed people get. Put out the e-newsletter and it's like, if you subscribe, you get
Yeah.
this bonus track when the album comes out.
I'm so confused.
On CDs, the last track would be like an hour long because at the very end there'd be a secret track of that hour.
That's right. I remember
I
that.
remember that on a 5 CD. I'd fall asleep and then an hour later it'd be like, bam, you're
Yeah.
back.
Right. I had one. There was a Hanson one as well.
Yeah,
Which
you
was
can't really
like,
do that anymore because you can just
We
see.
did
It's like,
that.
oh, this song's 50.
Yeah.
There's a secret track on
hour.
Rookie.
Yeah.
On Rookie, there's a secret
Yeah.
track.
how'd you do it?
We did that.
You left
Yeah,
it on for
just
an
put it
hour
on
and
The
then,
last. It's not an hour. It's like a couple of minutes.
and then another one comes on.
Yeah, how does an hour? Like, wait, an hour?
On a CD,
I don't
why
think
not
it's an
just fill up
hour.
the space with a bunch of nothing? Dude, I'm telling you.
An hour?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool because it would make it harder to find as well. And if they're going to be, I mean, Hanson had one, and it was like it was a 10-track album.
Hanson had one.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Hanson. Man from Milwaukee, I think it was called.
He's like a
Hanson.
fourth
Drummer,
member of
Hanson.
Hanson.
Dude, I'm Zach, the blonde drummer.
Yeah, you
like.
Wait, is his name Zach? Whoa.
Yes.
Bob.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm
so
gonna
they
call you
had one,
Umba.
and it was like a 10-track album, but they when you put it in the CD player, it had 16 tracks, and so like
Oh, wow.
5 of them were blank, and one of them was the song. So that was like kind of cool.
Right.
It went to like track 10, and then I think the 13th track was the song.
It wouldn't really
Hanson
work on
trivia.
Spotify or whatever.
No, it's kind of fucked now, isn't it? Like they just have
But you
to.
could still do that though. They'd
Well, you
be
could
tracks with
just
nothing.
maybe you could like release the album.
Or ask Apple, be like, if they play it in this order, secret
Or
track.
you just put that. Well, you could do it like I'll put the album out and then not tell anybody, but I'll put an X track up like a week later, and I just won't tell anybody, and it'll just be slotted in there and see if anyone can find it or something. Like slot it in amongst your B sides or something down the bottom and see if anyone can just find it.
Right.
Because if that, it would encourage them to just go through your whole discog and be like, oh fuck, what's this one? Because that's why people would do it, right? Because it's like put a secret track at the end and then kind of float a rumor that there might be one, so people listen to the whole CD to get to the secret track or something. I feel like it would be a move, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start thinking about this, like when people are actually listening to my music, like later on in my life, when people
Looking for
you're
secret
like,
tracks
People
and
go
stuff.
through your Discog and be like, "My mother would do that," and that's probably about it.
Yeah. Well, you
You know,
never know.
you don't have the power
I'm just gonna go look.
until a little bit later to start doing shit like that. It's like, oh, I'm gonna play a secret show. Just like nobody can. It's like so secret. Nobody's looking for it.
Whoa,
You know?
that's what I want.
Yeah. No, but you know.
That's what I want, man. I want that to be a weekly thing, weekly secret show.
But people just keep coming. You can't
Yeah.
stop them. Those 2 girls keep coming back every Sunday.
Oh.
Oh fuck.
That'd be nice.
Why do people have secret songs though in albums?
Songs.
Yeah, secret tracks.
Just a little Easter egg, dude.
It was
Just
fun.
fun.
Yeah, it was
Come
fun.
on.
It's
Yeah.
like on DVDs how if you have a computer, you can click on the little Easter egg button.
Yeah, I love those
It's
things.
the same deal, dude.
See the little behind the scenes videos and stuff on the menus. You get like
If
little
you have
Easter
like,
eggs.
you can't do it on DVD players, but if you have a computer, you can click on these buttons that aren't accessible, and you get secret features.
I was never too much of a fan of the special like features thing.
I love good
Really?
special features.
Really?
Man. I love them. Good special features.
Behind the scenes,
I love
dude.
'em. Lord of the
That's
Rings.
half. Yeah.
Have you seen the Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
special features?
that's
That
half-
is like one of the best things. Oh, it is so good. How they make it. I love watching like people making albums, people making.
Yeah, it's
Dude, they're like 4 or
it's
5
so
discs.
Good. It's so good. The making of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing better than watching awesome people like making awesome stuff. Like I love that.
well, especially if you are making like if you love a movie, you know, like you're like
wanna
that was
learn.
such a good movie, and then there's like
Yeah,
this whole
that's
thing
true.
of like here's how they made it. Like they do that on you know what a really cool one is? Do you ever watch the Planet Earth documentaries?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At the end of every
Yeah,
doco,
yeah,
they
that's
have like
cool.
another
Yeah, and
20
that's
minutes of
just
like
as
here's how we
rad.
filmed
That's
it,
so
and
amazing to
here's
see how they make those things.
and some of
too.
those
Oh my God.
missions
yeah.
that they go on to
They
get that
risk their
shit is
lives all the time.
messed up. Like some guy sits in like a built-in little leaf
Little hut
room
thing, yeah.
behind a lens for like 12 hours waiting for this bird to just come down and go and bail again. Like literally. Like
It's like a doc. It's so meta. It's like a documentary of the documentary.
You
What
get,
about
you
ones
get the
like-
thrill
And
of being
here
like
he
a
sits.
sniper, but you don't actually have to kill anyone.
Yeah.
like imagine like how bored you would be there, just being like, hurry up, bird, like please, just can we get down and get the fuck out of here? Like
Yeah.
right? Eventually.
Somebody do something around here.
It would be hard work. I mean, it
Yeah.
would be exciting, of
Imagine
course.
the
Like
gold though, like
Oh.
when you actually capture it, how excited.
that level of satisfaction of like nailed it, like
Dude.
once in a lifetime opportunity, and I crushed it. Like
Yeah.
you'd be so happy. You'd be so happy with yourself. And if you fuck it, you'd be so
You
dead.
go flip side of the
It's
coin.
the complete opposite, yeah. But they get to go some really
Remember,
remote
like, the penguin
locations.
one where they have to go onto like the
That island,
yeah, and like getting
Yeah.
on there, it's like they have like a 5-minute window.
and it's a boat with the tides really rough, and they have to clamber up rocks and shit with all their gear.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds awesome.
that
Sounds
where
like
the
it's like a
penguins-
huge adventure. It'd be
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much fun.
Is that where the penguins are trying to get off the island and it's like carnage?
Yeah.
Or
Is
they're trying
that-
to get on the island? No,
Trying
yeah,
to
they're
get
trying
off,
to get away.
they dive out to go fishing and stuff,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
get
yeah.
absolutely rolled by the tide.
Yeah,
That's
they're
like- that's
getting
Happy
nailed on
Feet,
the
right?
cliffs.
Yeah,
You guys talking about that animated film? Right?
I love that movie.
Is that March the Penguin?
No, it's just Morgan Freeman.
He's in.
He'd be my go-to guy for a narration.
For narration? Yeah.
Sure.
Him
Oh,
or, like,
he's
William-
everybody's
William-
go-to
He
William
guy.
narrated
Shatner.
the new
David Attenborough's pretty great too, though.
he
William
narrated the
Shatner.
intro to that new Dave Chappelle
That's right.
and and Dave's thinking. I reckon it'd be like 2 million a pop to get him narrating.
Do you reckon they could just like be old like movie mates and stuff too? Because
Yeah,
like
true.
he was pretty famous, so I reckon they could be like Chappelle and Freeman were definitely like Dave Chappelle was so famous for a while, so
Yeah,
like
true.
Yeah.
he probably has the hookups as well. What were you gonna say then, Tom?
Nothing.
Uh,
No, no.
Morgan Freeman? Something about him?
No, it's just no.
He's having a look.
I was just gonna say, and they're both black.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that, man.
So that they both read the newsletter.
Yeah. Oh man.
They know what's going on
Oh, that's so
in the
funny.
forums and shit.
That's so funny. Have you guys ever heard about? Like, we'll just
Please
keep
don't
going
include
on
that.
this.
Please do not include.
Have you guys ever heard of this of Black Twitter?
Wait, what?
Black Twitter. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Apparently, there's like a whole subculture of Twitter that is just black, like Africa. As far as I'm aware, like just black people, but mainly African Americans.
What?
Really?
And they have a whole culture of like people blowing up on like Black Twitter and stuff. And,
Oh,
like,
man. And what?
What's
and-
the difference?
How do they know though?
well, it's just like a really cult. Oh, because like
dissing
so,
white
if
people?
once
Like-
you're clued in, you understand who the people
Or-
in
or-
Black
They
Twitter
can't be
are.
doing the same thing on Black Twitter
Yeah.
as they would be doing on Twitter.
Like
Can we get one?
a Black
Yeah,
Twitter.
so-
No. So you're just on Twitter. It's still
Yeah,
Twitter.
but do they let white people get on the black Twitter?
Yeah, well, like, okay, so here's a good one. I was listening to the other day, the Rogan podcast. what's his name? Oh, he's a country singer, and he's like sings some like, but his songs. His country song would be perfect. Like your country song for him would be like a perfect song for him. Like that he would release that. He would release that as a thing. Like
Wait,
one of his songs is called "Fuck You, You Fucking Bitch," and he sings it in like the most naff country like
Is he black?
lap steel. Like no, he's white,
Oh.
but he blew up on like
This
Black
is
Twitter because
confusing
you
me.
asked,
Oh right.
Yeah.
can white
Oh,
people be
yeah.
on it? And it was
Right.
like this
Okay.
guy, and
Okay.
fuck, I gotta look him up. His name.
He's
actually
big on
hilarious.
Black Twitter.
He blew up on Black Twitter. Like one of his songs, like some guy, one of the main tastemakers of Black Twitter, like linked it.
Okay, hold on a second. Can I like if I were gonna go on Black Twitter, right? Do I open Twitter
Yes,
or is it a different
it's
app?
kind of like
Is it
yeah,
hashtag Black Twitter.
maybe I'm not sure. I don't know. Let's have a look.
Is it just a guy on Twitter called
No,
Black Twitter?
it's like basically I think it's a lot of people, members of the African American community, who have their own following of African American people, and it's
Right.
like this big culture within Twitter called
Okay.
Black Twitter.
Oh, okay, so it's within Twitter.
Yes.
Like, right.
So,
I
like,
thought
and
it had
he-
its own like.
Yeah.
different-
It's
No,
like a
no,
different
no,
app
no, no, no,
with
no,
a
no.
different
I said
logo.
that. No, I said you still go on Twitter. Like
Yeah.
it's just Twitter, but
Okay.
so, but basically,
Wait,
he-
black people are allowed on Twitter?
So
I
Jesus Christ.
I have to keep doing it. You know, if I'm gonna be a cunt.
So
I'm gonna
like,
be a cunt.
so dude, so like Wheeler Walker Jr. is this country singer. That's his name.
Wheeler Walker Jr.
Wheeler Walker Jr.
Wheeler
right, is
Walker
his
Jr.
name. And like one of his songs is called something like "Fuck You, You Fucking Bitch," and let me look
And
it
Black
up.
Twitter loved that.
And well, like black, some guy on. So his album is
We
called
endorse it.
Redneck Shit. His album's called Redneck Shit.
And black people.
And apparently some
Why is
black
that?
guy on like linked his song "Fuck You, Bitch" and was like,
As an enemy, maybe.
no, and he was like,
Okay,
damn, I
this is
never knew
retarded.
country music could go this hard. So basically, he was
Right.
like saying props to this guy because he's like singing like about real shit like in country
Called
music.
Fuck You Bitch.
Yeah, right.
Because like the songs are called "Fuck You, Bitch," "Sit on My Face," "Eating Pussy, Kicking Ass," like
Oh, I've seen this, dude.
yeah, "Drop 'Em Out," "Beer Weed Cooches,"
Does he
"Can't
do
Fuck You
videos?
Off My Mind," like "Which one of you queers gonna suck my dick?" Like all
Sounds
these
real,
songs,
man.
like
It's a
he's
solid
full
album.
on, like
I don't want to listen to him.
"Finger Up My Butt," "Fightin' Fucking Fartin'," like just classic stuff. And
Is he old? Like
yeah, he's in his like late 30s, I'd say, but he's killing it at the moment. Like he's like doing sold out shows across the US, like absolutely crushing it. But it's just funny, like
and full black audience, all black audience.
no.
All black over there, yeah.
He's not like
Yeah.
he's not
But
like
he
a
was
Black
just
Twitter
on- he
king.
was
He
just
was
on
just a
Black
white
Twitter.
guy
Yeah,
that
yeah.
like
Yeah.
did something that
The
Black
Black
Twitter
Twitter.
picked up on and were like, damn,
I would
this
be
is sick.
So
What were they
stoked if I
like?
blew up on
And
Black
he was
Twitter.
killing it. He was stoked. He was genuinely
Yeah, I would
like
be-
stoked. He was like cool. Like
I'd be stoked.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just funny. It was just funny because you asked. And
Well, so that's the only white person you can think of on Black
oh,
Twitter.
dude, that's purely an example I've listened to on Joe Rogan
Okay, right.
podcast, and he talked about it, and that's why pretty much I like because we were talking about other stuff, Twitter, and I was like, oh, Black Twitter, but yeah,
Do you guys tweet?
no, I don't have a Twitter.
I just
No.
like.
I have a Twitter,
sometimes
but I
include
just
it
never
into
do it.
the- like on Insta, you can just like
Include-
across,
Oh well, we've
It's an
actually
afterthought.
Love Basement Sessions has a Twitter, so
Surely no one under 30 has a Twitter.
no, I reckon not
I have
here.
a
Maybe
Twitter,
not
but
here.
I don't really use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use it
Don't.
to see if anyone else has tweeted about Daggy Man.
Yeah. That's
Pretty much it.
Twitter's like it's very big in the US. I think a lot of people.
Yeah, it's
have it.
pretty big. It's huge. I just don't find it's a weird like Instagram for me makes sense as an expression. Twitter doesn't really.
Well, Twitter is like you can
found it
just
harder.
say something and it sparks like a whole conversation or something like that, and
Yeah.
then like like the bigger, more popular you are, obviously, like the bigger the conversation's gonna be. But it's like you can just say something, and it's kind of crazy because it's just another form of media. It's just literally like someone being at so like Donald Trump on Twitter is hilarious because he's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the
I
president
follow-
of
I
the
follow
United States, right?
Trump.
So he's like the leader of the free world, and he like goes into press conferences and he'll say like a bunch of things which are like
Just live tweet a press conference.
live tweet a press conference, or he'll be at a press conference and he'll do his speech and it'll be like somewhat contained, but then like straight after or straight before he's saying something like this is this person's a joke and and like he's just being like a
Very
total
bad.
psycho like, but it's like another form of media which I think he's trying to use to his advantage to appear like, oh, I'm just an everyday bloke. I'm
Do
just
you reckon
like
he's pressing the
100%,
post button?
dude.
You reckon he's?
Yeah.
I
Yes,
think he is, and I think
definitely.
social media is what, and that whole internet age is what got that dude elected. as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. He used that too. There,
It's
like
marketing.
that whole thing. Like he won the popularity contest. You know,
Absolutely.
which is like what it is, and he was like, of course he was going to be good at that. He was a reality TV show like giant. Like
You're fired.
yeah, like he's an absolute celebrity. Like he just rode off the back of that.
Also, I mean, he was the right man for the job.
Yeah, totally, dude. We're so sweet. I'm so glad he got elected. But
He was,
Dude,
you
I
know,
think-
he's had good credentials. He made steaks and shit in the past. He had Trump steaks.
Do
yeah,
you-
he had
made
Trump
sense.
steaks.
Do you-
Yeah.
He's got. I think he's still got him.
Do you love him a little bit? Like, even if you're against all he's doing, do you kind of have a soft spot for him?
For Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Not for him, but I kind of love reveling in the fact that like this is the fucking the US of A right now because like they've lorded it over everybody for so long
He
about
was
how they're the
elected.
best country in the fucking world and that like no one could touch them. And now they've elected like an absolute like idiot for like their president, and it's just kind of like you've shot yourselves in the foot so fucking hard as far as the rest of the world's concerned. I think because like can you have to imagine
I
that
work at the airport and I meet a lot of Americans.
Yeah.
And they're always just like, oh, I'm sorry. This is...
they're the they're the good
Really?
Americans though, right? But then
Yeah.
they're not the people that even voted for the guy. That country is full of like obviously the majority or like a huge loud portion of them that don't even think about anything outside of
I
America.
don't think they're loud. I reckon they're silent
No, they
voters.
vote. They're the
Yeah,
ones,
that's what
why.
I mean. Like, they don't tweet. They don't...
Yeah, but they
Because
vote.
they don't own computers.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that like there's a lot of people within America who don't know anything but what it is to be in America. Like they don't
But,
care
like-
about the rest of the world. They think America's the greatest place on earth, and it's like doesn't matter where you like anybody else. Fuck them. Like they're super patriotic in like a closed-minded way, and then they're the people that he appealed to, and were like. And a lot of those people happen to be like working class, middle class people that he was like, I'm gonna get you guys more jobs. I'm really wealthy. Like I'm gonna sort you guys out, don't you worry. And I'm gonna kick off the Democrats. They've been taking money from you and stealing for years. I'm gonna sort all that out, like all this shit. Like, and they were like, yes, this guy finally like gets us. And because he's been doing reality TV, which they all fucking watch. Like,
But it's like, dude, at a party, like if you give a child a can of fucking silly string, what do you expect? You get a fucking mess. Because that's what a child does.
Yeah.
With fucking silly string.
But that's exciting. Part of me is like, this is
it's
getting
Oh,
exciting.
I'm into it.
This kid's
Well,
got
it's-
silly
it's-
string.
The unknown.
but it's scary for us too because it's like
Yeah.
if
One
shit
thing-
happens if the US gets involved in something,
Yeah.
pretty much the whole Western world has to fucking decide what they want to do.
The
Like
one
we
thing
have to
I-
help them.
The one
Like,
thing I think that's positive out of it is the collective. I do feel like, for a while there at least as well, everyone was sort of, it was this collective experience. Do you know what I mean? The
Yeah,
students elected
watching it
president.
happen.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
was sort of involved. And I don't feel like that happens a lot. Maybe with like sports events and shit, but like the World Cup or something, you kind of have that vibe. But I felt like everyone was involved.
Yeah, it
which
did
I-
have that
I remember
vibe,
the
didn't
night.
it?
If
Yeah.
there's anything positive about it, like that kind of felt like a thing. Everyone was sort of
I mean, it's just interesting because you
digesting
got
it.
to think that like people like Putin and stuff was just like licking his lips, just being like, "Holy shit! If Russia's we're gonna make more ground in the next 4 years
Yeah.
than we have in the last 50." Like, you know what I mean? He would have just been like, "This guy's a fucking idiot." Like, boom, I got this guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whereas like everyone else has been a little bit like.
Yeah.
Has been smart and up for the job. I feel like they've handled like Obama did a bunch of shit, but he was a good president. I think overall, like I think he was smart and he held himself well and he was good at negotiating and things like that, as far as I could tell. But like Trump is like just an idiot. Like all
Yeah.
he cares about is like the ratings and the looks and like this is how I look to the people, and I look like a badass who's telling Russia to beat it and all that.
Yeah.
But then like maybe there's like an ulterior motive of that, or like I don't know. It's just.
There has to be an ulterior. There's always an
That
ulterior.
well, he's a puppet, right? He's
I
got
just
to
don't
be
know
like
who
a
to believe
puppet.
anymore, though, as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's fed
dude,
to
who
me.
knows where he
I've
fits
changed.
into what's going down?
Yeah.
So much is
Well,
Did you
like,
see
yeah,
what
he's
was
a
said?
Republican Party representative. So first of all, he has to be like agreed upon by the Republican Party to represent them. Like,
I think they thought that he would be easier than he is, to be honest.
yeah,
Like,
maybe.
I think they're having a trouble because they're like, oh man, I think this is one guy that we thought we could have a bit more control over.
Well, he doesn't
than
have
we
any.
do.
He doesn't owe anyone any money, which
Yeah,
is like a
right.
big thing.
Oh,
He's,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
not in anyone's pocket because
Yeah.
he paid for his whole campaign himself.
Yeah.
So no one gave him any money.
He's a businessman.
But I mean, obviously, his business is then tied to fuckloads of other things. So technically, he probably is in the pocket of the people that are feeding his businesses or whatever. You know what I mean? Because he would have international, like, he's a multi-billionaire. Like, he would have international holdings all over the place. Like, so he would be influenced by like other countries purely because like he'd have something in there that
Dude,
makes him
surely-
billions of dollars. That
Surely he'd have crazy relationships around the world.
Oh my
with
God.
who knows? The
there would
biggest-
have to be surely
biggest.
okay. Surely there has to be some sort of not the Illuminati, but like there has to be some crew of people that are at the top of the tree that are just going. We are deciding what's happening. Like,
Would they just be the wealthiest people? Though?
yeah, I feel like in this society, in Western society, yes, they are the wealthiest people because they have all the money, and like the governments have to go to them for the money, and like because the governments want to do stuff, but nothing works without money. So who is going to be the most powerful person? The person with all the money, because they just decide how they want to share their money out.
Yeah.
And it's just like so, and someone has to own it, right? Like someone has to own that money, like because the government, the banks in the US are privatized. Like the Federal Reserve is a family-owned thing, the Rothschilds or whatever they are, and that's like a family-owned. This is getting a bit conspiracy theory land, but I won't go that far. The Rothschilds
Alex
have,
Jones.
yeah, fucking damn them all to hell. Oh, sorry, everybody. Sorry, I know this is a family show. This is a family show. But yeah, someone has to own it. Like, and like all the royalty people, like kings of countries and stuff, like they all have money and like, you know.
How
They're all lizards.
strange is that Alex Jones is kind of friends with Trump and super pro Trump.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's.
went
I don't know how he's gonna fit that
it's
into all
weird.
his.
But then there's
narratives.
there's a whole thing like because I feel like Alex Jones is totally theatrical. Like it's all
That-
bullshit,
yeah.
and it's like. Trump probably is like, yeah, you can totally help my position because you've got a humongous audience. Like,
Well,
he's got one of the biggest like
he's-
podcast YouTube followings ever.
And he believes like the Clinton family are wrapped up in that pedophile.
Yeah,
ring.
he probably get a lot
Yeah,
of people-
but that's all
It's like-
posturing. I think that's all bullshit just to get people like interested in what he's got
But
to
then
say.
he's pro-Trump as well, which is
Yeah, he's like, you're going to see a lot of things change, like when Trump goes into office.
He
You're going
did
to see
say some
cures. You're going to
interesting
see
things.
cures for cancer, and you're going to see all these things. Like,
He did say some interesting things about like Trump taking away the death tax and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Like,
but it's like, and I looked at like his proposed tax reform and stuff like that, and it's like, looks like it's punishing the rich and like favoring the poor, but like you just never know. You just don't know what he's going to actually do. Like, you know, he says one, like they all say one thing, and it's all hidden in fucking words, and they do another thing.
But could you
like-
say that about Obama as well? Like everyone was like, "Oh, I love him," but
He represented like a lot
Who
of
knows
stuff
what he
though,
actually
more than
did.
just being a president. You know what I mean?
But also, like, we oversimplify a presidency because
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
government, and the fact that a president can't get something done is also about how the government works. You know, like, it's not like it's one dude who says, this is what we're doing. It's like you can have, if you're a Republican in a majority Democrat government, or vice versa, you know, you're not going to get anything done.
Yeah.
It's like you can't get.
Well,
anything
your
done.
job is to oppose the shit that the other team, like the
you can't-
minority
it's not
government's
just
job
your
is to,
decision,
like,
you know?
Yeah, is to keep the majority government under wraps.
It's just so much more
Make sure
complicated
they don't run
to get
away
something
with what
through.
they want to do. Because obviously, if you have an extreme left population, heaps of crazy shit, you know, it'll be liberal, you know, weed will be legal, fucking all that shit, you know, everything, full control of your own body. But it just kind of, society wouldn't function the way it functions now. People would be like, it'd be like
Be like Nimbin.
the 70s on fucking,
Yeah,
like,
and
steroids,
we
you know what I
go on
mean? It would
fucking
just
raw.
be like the crazy hippie movement, like, everyone just does whatever they want, and no one does anything for anyone anymore, and, like, it just diverts into chaos again. Whereas, like, but if you go super right, there's no creativity, there's no expression, there's no, like, fun, which we kind of focus on in life. Like, there's none of that, because they're so rigid and, like, more money, more building, more growth, everything's all the statistic, and it's just the two ways of the mind. And it's like, if you don't have each government pushing back against each other, either way is chaos. And then in the middle is like, you know, right in the middle is obviously ideal, but like around that area is like, and you're going to have ebbs and flows of really conservative government, really creative government, and people get bored of whatever's happening. So it just goes whoop, 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 like that.
That sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, it's good because you don't want, like, I feel it's good.
Yeah.
But like, you're never gonna be happy, like really, with like your government. Like, there's always gonna be something they're doing. And you're like, fuck these guys. Like, that sucks. Like,
Well, that's democracy.
yeah, but that's democracy because it's like you don't get it your own way. Because if you get it your own way, it's totalitarianism or whatever. It's so. If one person gets to do whatever they want to do, no questions asked. You've got a totalitarian dictatorship, and that doesn't work because
That's like what we were talking about with creativity. In that, like, you need chaos and madness, and you also need order and like technical clarity kind of thing. And
it's all about the balance.
they pull each other. Yeah, that's where the magic happens in the middle of that.
Totally.
deep. That's deep.
No, it's
Yeah.
but I've never thought about it with like the two, like left and right,
I feel like it applies to
Yeah.
everything.
having like a tug of war that keeps things
It
kind
applies
of.
to absolutely everything, in my opinion. Like every part of life, there's a light and a dark, and it's like been spoken about for ages. Like yin and yang, and good and bad, and it's just like
So
there's
would you
always
say then, like,
Well-
any kind of suffering that you have, there always has to be the like return for that? This.
like, as in
Do
eye
you mean
for an
like
eye.
karmically? Do you mean?
Yeah.
Do you mean like
Or
eye
you
for
had
an
something
eye?
bad, happen to you, therefore
No.
it has to balance out in that way, or do you?
No, I don't think I need to exact the balance. I don't think I need to make the balance.
I don't think he means spiritually. There's a balance.
Is that what you mean?
Is that what you mean?
Spiritually.
Yeah. Or do you?
Oh yeah, I think
you're talking
everything. There's balance.
Yeah.
Like
But in a karmic way.
in a karmic, as in karma, as
Yeah.
in, do you think the universe works in mysterious
that's what
ways?
who
Is
he's
that what you
asking.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Like,
thought you
like
meant
stuff
as
that's
in if
outside
something
of your-
happens to me and then
Yeah.
I have to do something to like balance it out again.
Yeah, but you'll be grateful for that and like happening to you in the long run. Or
Oh, I
something.
do have a little bit of that, like in my belief. Like, if something shit happens to me, like if it's directly my fault, I'll be like, "You fucking idiot, that was your fault." But like, if something shit just happens, like someone backs into your car, for want of a better example, like you're just parked and someone tows your car or something because you didn't read the sign, and you're like, "Fuck, man!" Like, I thought I read that sign right and I read it wrong, and damn it, my car got towed, and it's just kind of like I wasn't trying to be a dick or I wasn't being stupid. I just got kind of fucked, but then maybe like 6 months down the track, I'll be walking along and I'll find $50, and I'll be like, dude.
But that's what you're saying. Like you believe that.
I just believe in balance.
Yeah.
I just believe like you have shit things happen to you and you have good things happen to you, and if you can, you got to have a bit of shit every now and then to appreciate good.
Yeah.
Like
I think
if good shit
fundamentally-
happened to you, if good stuff happened to you all the time, then you would just be miserable because like nothing bad would ever, or you'd be horrible to be around because you would do whatever you want, nothing bad would ever happen to you. You'd be a shit person to be around because you don't ever think of yourself and how to make everything good for you at that point in time. And then every now and then, or you'd be bored, or you'd be sad, or whatever. But every now and then, some bad shit happens to you, and that's when I feel like that's when your spirit goes, all right, time to knuckle down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get through this. Like, this sucks, but I'm gonna beat it. And you push through it, and then you get back to being like okay again, and it feels so good. And you're like, God, this is good. Like, and you just need that.
Right.
To kind of make you appreciate the thing. Otherwise, if you're having a terrible time all the time, you're going to be miserable. And if you're having a great time all the time, I feel like you're probably going to be like not as happy as you could be. So some adversity always makes you feel like achieving, like getting over adversity is like an achievement. So that makes you feel good, which is like kind of what we're all looking for, is that achievement to feel good. Because that's the best thing, right? Like when you do something that you set out to do, or like you improve at something, that's when you feel like great.
Yeah.
And I think like the shit that's out of your control, like the guy my car getting towed, but then finding $50, it's just kind of like cool, like nice. This is a good day. This is a bad day.
Yeah. Right.
I'll just ride this bad day out, and
Yeah,
this
totally.
day's awesome. I'm just gonna go and have a really good day because I just found $50 or whatever.
Yeah, I
Like,
just really admire that like attitude in people though. Like Stu's got that sort of way of looking at life where it's like no matter what happens, he always sort of sucks the positive from it. Like he'll just like, find a way to look at like the positives.
that's good.
Yeah, it's just like he just sees like sort of instances popping up in front of him as like a change of course or a change of direction, but it's not like it's like where he needs to be in that moment.
I don't
Yeah.
think anything means anything.
Yeah.
Well, like that's what it seems to keep. The more we know, the more we kind of
I just
keep.
think the world is absurd and shit happens, and you define how it happens within yourself.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what you were
exactly,
saying
yeah.
Usually
before.
with a reference point of something else.
That's what you were saying before, pretty
Yeah.
much. So,
Totally.
yeah.
But I don't believe in a necessarily spiritual karmic
I-
thing.
well,
where
yeah.
it's going to come
Yeah, I
back to
don't.
me
Yeah,
in a good way.
yeah.
I don't
But
really
it's
think that.
it's your attitude though that's in
Yeah,
control
I
of
think
that.
you can
Yeah.
you can not create that, but you can yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. If you move forward in that direction.
Yeah, you can let it affect you two
Obtain that.
two ways, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anything that happens to you, and it's like, yeah. And you're right. Like Butter Doctor definitely
Well,
looks
it's
at
just
it in
amazing to
super positive.
See him like live it like genuinely. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Like he's had some pretty horrible stuff happen to him, but it's
Mm.
like how he sees it and how it affects him now.
yeah.
It's weird. Like
I think that sort of stuff, if you do have horrible stuff happen to you,
But that's again.
allows you to get to that point.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that's the adversity,
Yeah.
getting through it and being
Totally.
like, dude, the good stuff's good. I'm stoked on it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's a total thing, and I don't think, you know, I don't think there's a perfect balance in life of like, yeah, I had exactly the same amount of bad things happen to me as good things happen to me, so it all the universe balanced out and karma is like on my side, or I'm right in the middle of it. But so I don't believe there's like a someone or something kind of determining everything. Like, but I just think like everything you look at has balance, so it makes sense that if the bigger we go, the balance is still going to exist. Like
And beyond that, like what you're saying as well.
the
is-
laws of like the universe like apply at every single level, on every single plane and surface. Like
But they change, don't they?
they do definitely, yeah. I guess physically they do.
I just
maybe.
feel like
Yeah, like when they get really small. So maybe when they get really big, it changes.
Things change too. Yeah, true. Maybe just yeah, I don't know.
But it's safe to assume, judging off the pattern.
Judging
that
off
it
like from
keeps
like
going.
you do something stupid like you increase the likelihood that something bad's gonna happen to you. Like it's just like a balanced thing. It's the push and pull of everything.
It makes like
So like, and I'll stop after this. It's just like a spirit thing though as well. On a spiritual level, totally as well. Like if you try and put out a lot of good energy into the world and feel like a positive person and be good about it, then like a lot of good stuff will like your attitude will change and the way you deal with shit will change. And then like a lot of good things I feel like will come back to you because you're putting good out into the world. Like, and if it's not, then you're not in your right
I
environment.
think like sometimes that can be like not genuine though. Some people can do it with that intention. Like they'll be like,
Yeah.
I'll be a good person, but
but
it's
if they're
not
not
like,
being genuine, then
Yeah.
it's not gonna work.
yeah.
Like it's gotta be authentic.
I
And if you're
think-
good to people, like Stu looks after everybody, right? Like Butter Doctor, he comes down and he sorts us all out all the time. Every time we have parties, he's always like, just have whatever of my stuff, whatever you want. And it's like, if anything happened to him, I would be like, what do you need?
That's what I
I'm
mean.
there.
I reckon not even spiritually, just on a practical
Yeah.
level. If you treat people positively, then it elicits the same thing back, and and that atmosphere will kind of form around you.
Yeah.
Definitely, you
everyone's-
create a positive world around you.
Yeah.
Because like you're being so positive and good with everything that everyone wants to do it back to you.
Yeah.
So then you just kind of create a really good world around you.
Totally.
Yeah, and if you're negative, then you're just going to hang out with other negative people, and it gets worse and worse. And
But also, in speaking to the balance thing, I think coming to fundamentally understanding that there's large value in both of those experiences. Bad
You
things
learn
have
from
a
both,
huge
right?
amount of value, as
Definitely.
much as good things have value.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So when like bad things happen, it's not like so many people think it's a punishment, or they do think that way. You know, of like, fuck, you know, I wish something good would happen for you know. It's like, it's just something that's happening. You know, there is no. You know what I mean? There's
the
no like,
universe isn't out to get you or
yeah.
anything.
There's no there's no end game for it. It's not a thing. I don't believe that, at least. It's not something that's happening to you. There's no cause for this. It's something that you're going through, and there's a value to it. So experience it. You know what I mean?
Well, you can definitely learn a lot
Digest it.
from like really bad experiences. Like
Totally.
necessity almost has to. The necessity of bad things happening almost has to exist from an evolutionary standpoint, because it's like evolution is just a constant learning from mistakes, or a constant, certain lines dying out because they haven't made the right decisions. You know what I mean? So like everything evolves as a reaction to something that's happened to it. So that's the way you kind of look at it. Like, and it's the same way with like your spiritual, I guess your spiritual side as well. It's like lots of bad things happen to you. Like maybe you do like learn to appreciate really good things, or it makes you a really like hardened person, or like it's just an evolutionary part of you.
Yeah.
And it makes you see, like, it's like day and night. If it was always day, you wouldn't realize that that was like a variable.
Yeah.
But because night happens, when morning happens, it's like, this is glorious. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again,
Contra.
Nice one. Well, on that note, shall we?
do you want to call it?
Shall we call it?
Dag,
We're
you
gonna
got
go.
any shows coming up or anything? You doing anything fun?
No.
No. How's the? Well, let's talk about the. How's the album been going? Like,
Good, man.
had some good response and stuff.
Yeah, really lovely response. Mostly
Yeah.
from people listening to it, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I get a lot
Cool.
of messages.
Cool.
It's good. It's sort of like, kind of in the context of what we're talking about. You just sort of you breed what you want the world to be like. You kind of get that back in some ways if you act as if So, a lot of response contrary to like some other stuff that I've done. It's been really personal
Yeah.
from people, and like it seems to have affected people in a really nice way, which is exactly what I want to do. And it is something that is important to me. That if it's going to be anything, I'm going to put it out there. My hope is that it affects people. And I don't think I ever really thought about that beforehand. I think, and for it to mean something to someone is really awesome. So I've been getting a lot of amazing messages from people. It seems to be affecting people on a
lot
good
of those songs
level.
will like really deeply impact like an individual as well with their personal,
Yeah, well,
like,
that's it. I hope so.
struggles. For
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, they're super relatable. A lot of them. Like, I think just from listening to it, like I love it. I think it's a great album.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so it's good. I'm like couldn't be more happy with it.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Well, with the sound of the flushing toilet, we'll
That's our lives absurdly.
yeah, that's it. The
going
whole
down
lot
the
just
drain.
going down the
It'd be a
drain.
nice stereo image of it as well.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
It's like day in the life with the piano chords, but
Yeah.
easier.
But thanks for coming in, Doug,
Yeah.
Mate, my
and
pleasure.
enjoy Sydney. And
Duncan.
we'll be back again. Thanks, Solomon. Thank you,
Thank you.
handsome Daniels.
Thanks, Andy Solomon. Oh,
And Big Boy signing out. Thank you.
If onto us was gone.